Our very special guest joining us via Skype is Scott LeRette. He is a dad of a son who is on the autism spectrum, and he is a blogger, and he is also an author of a book that we're going to be talking about briefly. So, Scott, are you there?
I am. Good afternoon. Good morning, I guess.
Well, because it's both, right? Because you're in the middle of the United States, correct?
Right. Central Time. I'm in Iowa.
Okay, very cool. And we're so thrilled to have you on the show. It's our first time having you on. And your blog is called Austintistic. Why is that the name of it?
Well, it was just my own. Well, if you step back, I started writing in little notebooks. More of a release for me, not knowing anything about writing a book or thinking about writing a book. And Austin, of course, that's his name. And among other things, he has autism. And I came up with Austintistic. And that just kind of stuck. And that's evolved. You know, the name of the book's going to be something different, but that's how it started.
Okay. And so, and Emily's going to put the address for people to go and read the blog, because it's really a lovely blog. I have to say, I spent some time on your site the last couple of days, and there's something about when autism dads speak that is just especially moving to me. I don't know whether it's because there are few of you who speak out, or you're just a remarkable group of people. But I love the subtitle on your blog, which is An Ordinary Man with an Extraordinary Son. It's beautiful.
It kind of fits.
Well, I would argue that it doesn't fit, because I think that from what you write, you're an extraordinary dad. So how old is Austin now?
Austin is 18.
Wow. And when was he diagnosed?
I want to say it was later than most are today, I would say. He was around 10 or 11.
Wow.
And part of that was, I think probably was a lot of denial on my part for many years, when my wife was much further ahead of me on that, in that thinking. She'd read an article in Time magazine and had said, this is what he has. And I just kind of ran from the room and didn't really want to listen.
And you've mentioned during the break, right before we went live, you mentioned that he's incredibly social. Tell us about how autism presents in him and what his strengths are.
Well, it is unique, and I always say that we're blessed because our autistic son is both verbal and social. And to a fault, though, he takes things to extremes. In Austin's life, there's no gray area. It's very much high or low, crashing highs or soaring highs, or just really mellow lows or very sober lows. So there's nothing really in between, and he's very much a presence. He does have seizures, and he can crash like that and just turn into where he'll sleep for, if it happens in the afternoon, he'll sleep till the next morning. But he's very much a presence, and you won't forget him if you meet him, because he's extremely gregarious and very loving. If he met you, he would want to hug you. He would want to invite you to spend the night.
That's awesome.
And I wrote a story about Austin once where he became fast friends with what ended up being the commander of Stratcom, which he was like the fourth most powerful man in the world at the time. He was a general. And he asked him to spend the night one night. We were at a party and we met him. And he almost did. But
that's got to be a little awkward from time to time.
You know what? Actually, that's a good point. And for the longest time, I think my wife and I both, I was so concerned about what he would say, because he would walk up to anybody. And it's evolved, though, too, over time. And I've just really let it go. Yes, he may say some things, but it's not worth it, because we used to be where I would be diligently monitoring him and worrying, and we kind of got over that a few years ago.
Now, I noticed that recently you had a blog about Austin going to the prom. It was a beautiful, beautiful blog with some great pictures.
Right.
And just really interesting insights about what it was like for him and what it was like for you, and when things would go wrong that you felt like it might be the end of it. I'm curious, he had this gorgeous date. Is this a friend of his or somebody that he has a love interest with?
Well, it's Jessie. She said Austin needs to go to prom, and she asked him to prom.
Okay.
She's an incredible girl. She wants to be a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
She graduated just last weekend, and it was perfect. I wish I could show a picture of the two of them because well, anyway, they had a great time, and that story was really neat. And I had over 16,000 people read it overnight, which was just a huge response. And I think that's because it was such a nice story, but also there were the beautiful pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. I love because they were in a beautiful car. And there's a gorgeous picture at the end of them driving away to prom, sort of, the sun setting and them driving away from you, which I think is just beautifully symbolic of at the point that it sounds like you're at. He's 18 and he's kind of driving away.
Right. And he's still got a year of school left. He'd ended up, we kept him back 1 year because of I think it was some of the bone breaks, maybe because he's broken his back twice. And I think, that was one of those times where he missed a lot of school. So he should be a senior, but he'll be a senior next year. And
the bone breaks and have to do with things other than autism, we should say, that he has some other issues that are going on for him medically.
Right. It's called osteogenesis imperfecta. It's a brittle bone disease. And he hasn't broken every single bone in his body, but he's broken fingers, toes, tibias, fibulas, humerus, ribs, nose.
Wow.
He's broken his back twice, his sternum, his coccyx. So he's broken what feels like every bone in his body.
Wow. And so now next year when he graduates, do you have a plan? Does he have a plan? Does he know what he wants to do?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And that's the one thing over the last year we've really been struggling with. We feel that at some point we will probably move with him to an area, a metro area, somewhere where there'll be more services. And I'm learning of more of these places that kids like Austin can go to as young adults because, as you probably are well aware, the unemployment rate of, young adult autistic people is extremely high.
Yeah,
and
higher than 90%. I mean, It's almost like you can't get higher.
Right. Yeah. One of the things I've learned, though, just this year, I've really come to this realization is that I think with someone with autism or other special needs as well, I think what you need to do is key in on what they're good at and what they love and desire and really go after that. He wants to be a chef. He loves to cook and he loves music. So I think those are avenues that we need to push Austin towards. To do in life.
Love it. So we should also mention too, and we did briefly mention that this blog, which is very popular, has snowballed into you actually writing a book. What is the title of the book?
Well, it looks like the title is going to be The Unbreakable Boy.
Love it.
And it actually is more appropriate because Austintistic, although I think I really loved finding that word and trademarking that word and everything like that, because it's such, just a play on words and I really like it. But it's not really, it doesn't really get to what the book is. And The Unbreakable Boy, I think, is a better analogy, a better, whatever you want to call it, to what the story is, because it's much more than autism. And, it's a story of faith. That's probably one of the pillars of what the story is about. But there's also the love story of my wife and I, how it took us 18 years to really get to know each other. And because we had other things bigger on our plate and because of the way that we met, there's addiction, there's special needs, there's struggle and pain, but then there's triumph too, and there's enlightenment.
Well, I can't wait to read it. And you have a brand new Facebook page for the book, The Unbreakable Boy. And if we go to that Facebook page and like it, will we get updates about when we can actually get the book?
Oh, it'll be on all of the sites. And I think if you go there right now, I'm the only one that's liked it because I haven't put it out yet.
It's brand new. So our viewers can be the next group of people to go and like The Unbreakable Boy. Fabulous. But we can, and then we'll know when the book is coming out and how to get the book.
Right. And I've also got the same name for a new website, which, again, I haven't shared that with anybody yet.
Okay.
And because the book will, it's still got a while for the book to be out there for you, but
we're excited
all those updates will be on there.
And in the meantime, people can be checking out your blog and finding out more information about you and your son. I think they'll find it a very uplifting and especially we have a lot of people who have teenagers who are having seizures, and I think that your blog is a really wonderful blog to read how you positively, it's not all hearts and flowers and roses, but I think you have a really good outlook on things.
Thank you very much.
Well, Scott, we thank you so much, and please keep us posted. And when the book is out, let's make sure that we have you back on again.
Very good. Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and say hello to everybody there for us.
All righty.
Bye-bye.